Welcome back to Severe MMA, and today we're joined by one of the most elusive men in Irish MMA, Cork MMA's Jack Maguire. What's the crack?
Oh, good, Andy. How's everything? Glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm delighted to be chatting to you. I was just saying to you before we started recording, like it's been a long time since I've interviewed you or we've spoken. And really, you've kind of gone quiet the last number of years. I feel like back just before the pandemic was starting, you had the fight in Cork, Cage Wars 110, I think it was. That was a great night. And then you had the fight with Kieran Mulholland. I think that was during COVID times. That might have been one of the COVID cards.
Yeah, that was the COVID card, yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously you had a kind of the comeback fight, we'll say, earlier on this year, but there was a big gap there, 4 years essentially, where no Jack Maguire on kind of on the scene fighting in MMA. What happened? Where'd you go?
I just had to go hiding in the woods for a while, that kind of way. The just laying low profile, keeping it quiet. But no, that's I wasn't away from anything. I was in the gym all the time, training loads of people fighting in MMA Cork. I just had string of injuries and kind of needed to take some time off to recover and all that, and kind of some medical issues as well. So it was long overdue. And then also when you're out for so long and you get lazy, you get very comfortable being lazy, and it's even hard to get back on it. But I got back in the wagon there now in March, and I'm kind of looking to get the ball rolling again now. So it's all exciting stuff. I'm out of the woods now for a while.
Yeah, that's it. Do you mind me asking? No worries at all if you'd rather not. But do you mind me asking what were the injuries or the medical issues you mentioned there?
Oh, I had I've bad back injuries and kind of trying to avoid surgeries on disc injuries, that kind of way. And because surgeries are probably no good really for my age. I'm just thinking, especially I'll be going right back to wrestling and grappling. So kind of had to get the strength up in them and work on them for a while. And after my pro debut, I was in hospital with I had like kidney issues and stuff, so I kind of rhabdomyolysis not yet, but there were a few issues there, but I was kind of medically out for a good while with that, so I had to kind of get a lot of things sorted. But all just stupid MMA fighters putting their body through torturous things and not looking after themselves, thinking they're invincible. But it caught up with me, so I have to take some time now to heal and whatnot. So back at it again.
Yeah, because like you had, I'm looking at Tapology here. You had the Dan Neil fight in December 2020 booked, but then that fell through. Was that an injury or something that?
Yeah, that was
the start of it, was it?
That was the start of it. The back had gone, and I think for the Dan Neil one, actually, funny enough, I had Darren O'Gorman was actually was back in Cork, and we were sparring and whatnot. But I don't know what we had some clash. I can't remember what it was, but I actually fractured my jaw then as well. But that was on top of the back, so it was just one thing after the other. But the back was the main thing, so I think that was why the Dan Neil one went off. Yeah.
Yeah, and like obviously it was a huge gap. Like it's a long time between that and when you did come back earlier this year at that 5-1 card. And like every now and then, we beat myself and Ian O'Neill and Quilch DeBar. Obviously we do the L Triangle and we chat about Irish MMA, and I'd be chatting to them. We'd be like, where is Jack? Like I feel like Jack Maguire should have a fight book soon. Like was there ever a point, like did you, I know you said you were training away and obviously dealing with the injuries and the medical conditions. You made your amateur debut in what, 2015, almost 10 years ago.
I think I was I 19, I think, when I made it. Yeah, so that was about 10 years ago. Yeah, you know more than me. Jesus, fair play.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at, I am a cheat. I just look at records. That's all I do. No, but when a long time like that passes, like, did you always expect to come back to fight, or like did you ever get to a place where you're like, oh, I'm just I train now, I coach, but fighting's no longer a thing?
Yeah, it was always the goal. Like, oh, I'm out injured, I'll try and get back in to try and get back to fighting. And then it was like I kept re-injuring myself, so it was kind of saying, well, why am I rushing back to fighting? If I'm always going to keep ruining myself. So it was kind of, okay, forget the fighting for a while and just go training, make sure your strength and conditioning is up and you're minding your body. And I kind of got into the groove and had no fight in my mind for a long time, until it kind of, after a while, I was like, nah, the itch is still there, and like as well, people always say, oh, you shouldn't focus on others, but there was also a thing, an aspect. I was on the outside looking in, and even though you all say Jack Lays kind of keeps low and he's hiding out somewhere, but I see people there, and I hear people fighting on big shows that I fought before, and they're all doing really, really well. And it's not a jealousy thing, but it's like, I know I have it in me to kind of do well in the sport. I think still now at this age, beside the grey hairs and the bad back, but so I had to get back into it, and I'm glad I did. So we'll go again for a while.
I mean, I think that makes complete sense. Like, looking at your amateur record, like, you fought a who's who at amateur in Ireland, like Kieran Clark, Nathan Kelly, Leon Hill, Alexander O'Sullivan. All these are lads who have gone on to the professional scene. Kieran Clark, obviously, he's absolutely flying in Bellator, undefeated. And I can completely understand what you're saying there, where you're watching the likes of these guys who are making their runs in Bellator and Cage Wars, etc. And you're probably thinking, all right, that should kind of be me in there. Is that what you mean?
And it's not even, no, it's not that should be me, because everyone has their own path kind of way, it's like,
right, but that should be me too. Or sorry, I don't mean to say that you're like, oh, they shouldn't be there and I should be, but more you should be on a path as well.
No, I feel like I'm capable of being on a path. It's probably a better way of putting it. I'm well capable of doing it. It's just making sure you actually go about and do it. And like, the thing is, all those lads have done unbelievably well, and they all trained ferociously hard, and they've made a lot of sacrifice, and they've done unbelievably well. And I know I've kind of been dealing with my own issues, like kind of outside of the fights, but again, maybe I could always look back and say, oh, maybe you could do more and kind of get back quicker. But again, look, there's no point dwelling on it anyway. I'm here now anyway, and I got my fight in March this year. I was hoping to get one in Cork this year, and I go on another one now this weekend. And I want to get back on it and keep going. So it is, so as you said there, now I'm gonna try and get back on the path now and see if I can make it.
100%. But like, is it difficult? Was it difficult mentally at all to be, before you made the comeback, to be sitting there and kind of watching on from afar? Obviously, especially when I've obviously never experienced it, but I've talked to a lot of fighters who, when they're going through injuries, and especially injuries that kind of take a lot longer maybe to heal than they would have first anticipated, it can be pretty mentally grueling. And some of them have said to me that even the mental side is potentially even just as difficult as the physical side as far as the comeback.
Yeah, the mental side is always the battle, really, and the physical can affect your mental, but I've never really done much thinking about it. I was like, oh, I'm injured now, so I'll try and get better and all. So making decisions there and then is what I've never really thought of, where I should be, where I wasn't, and I kind of just got on with the now kind of job. So and it kind of suits me down to the ground. I tend not to dwell too much on things or stress too much about things down the line. So we'll see.
Fair play. I wish I was the same about not stressing about things. You made the comeback at that fight to one card. A great performance. Obviously got the third round stoppage. A lovely right hand put your opponent down, and the finish came very shortly after via TKO. How good did it feel to get back? And what were there any, having been out for so long, were there any nerves? Like, what was the feeling like, I suppose, going into that fight as well?
Yeah, going in, I made a decision. I'm definitely fighting, and I'm good to go, like, physically. And but like, it was funny actually, because I was walking out to the fight, and when I was coming down the ramp and I was walking in, and then your man started putting the Vaseline on my face, I was like, Jesus Christ, why in God's name did I do this again? I was like, I was so comfortable for so long, having my chocolate and having my food and all this, and not worrying about anything. And I was like, never, ever, ever am I doing this again. No, I was like, this is the last one. Coming out, I was like, I forgot what this was like. And so then I threw a jab, like, within the first, I think, 10 seconds, and his eye started bleeding, and I was like, oh, this is brilliant, actually. Just pure fickle, and I was kind of glad I got back in there, but all those thoughts are coming in, and I was like, never, ever again. But here we are going again. So,
why do you think you were thinking that way, or feeling that way, that you didn't want to, never again?
Because as I said the last time, you can get into a routine of being comfortable, and it's very easy to be comfortable, so and there's nothing wrong with being comfortable. There's absolutely not, and people live out their days with being comfortable, and I was very comfortable, no fights coming up, just being part of the gym, and it was very fun and very easy. Had my chocolate all the time, had my cakes all the time, and I do love the sugar, like, so and there was nobody giving out to me. But the only person giving up to me really was myself deep down. So I'm, you know, I'm glad I got back in anyway, for sure.
I mean, I cannot relate to fighters most of that. I can 100% relate to the chocolate eating and that comfort lifestyle 100%. Given that you're saying that, and it, you know, it can be difficult, and you know, it's that kind of cozy life of like, you know, I actually don't have to go and get punched in the face today if I don't want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
To then have that kind of feeling of what the fuck am I doing here? Never again. And then going through the fight, getting the win, and now obviously you're booked again. Like, why are you back? What is the why?
I don't really know. Like, I just love it. You know, there's kind of the right way to do things and the easy way to do things. And I found for me the easiest thing to do was to sit back and watch everyone carry on, and you know, me do nothing. But to do right by me, I think, I don't know, whatever little voice within, like the right thing for me is to jump back on the horse and kind of keep going with it. You know, and it wasn't as if I ever wanted to get off it. It was just circumstances and whatnot. But as a reason to why, who knows? Like, makes absolutely no sense. But sure, MMA is terrible crack anyway. Everyone's miserable and sore all the time. But I'd rather be miserable and sore doing that than miserable and sore doing nothing, I suppose. So it is maybe that's my why.
And like, would you? I feel like there's different ways that I find that fighters approach the sport. Like, some are, you know, I want to make as much money as possible. I want to get to these big heights, the glitz and the glamour. Others you talk to, they're like, I just want to be world champion. You know, it's more of a sporting mindset. Where do you fall? Because there's a bit of a spectrum there. Where do you fall in that? Like what are you looking to get out of MMA?
Who knows? Honestly, it is just one fight after the next. So you saw like the amateur career there. I obviously just love testing myself. You know, there's some good lads there, and at amateur, I loved the fact that I was able to fight the best lads in the country. And Ireland's an absolute like pool of talent, and I was able to test myself against those lads. And you know, that's something that I'll have forever. You know, and I'm only doing it for me. You know, I'm from Cork, like I'm from Ireland, like we live in a very, very privileged country, you know, so like I don't have to do this for my family to put food on the table, you know, like I just enjoy it, and it's completely selfish. I just enjoy the sport. I enjoy being part of it. I just love the fact that I do MMA for myself, you know, what it brings me outside of training, you know, for like the confidence, I suppose it gives me, how comfortable I am with things. So it's just, I feel like I'm a better version of myself when I am doing MMA than when I'm out of MMA. So for me, the only thing that kind of motivates me is just to do it for myself. I couldn't really give a shit about the money. You know, I wouldn't be working full time outside of it if it was for the money. So like, it's just the sheer and utter entertainment, you know, that I get from it. So it's just my buzz, unfortunately. I wish I could go and play basketball like you and got enough of a buzz off it, because it'd be easier on my body.
What do you do for work? Do you mind me asking?
I'm an electrician.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, and that's good crack too. A lot easier than MMA.
Yeah, so I say you're putting in some hours being a Sparks as well on top of your training.
Yeah, no, very, very busy now. But I'm very lucky. Like my boss has been there since the very start. I've been working him all through my amateur career, and he's been super supportive, like getting time off for fights. And like I told him last week, I'm off Thursday, Friday. I have a fight on Saturday. Grand, go on. Do you know, like I'm very lucky. I have that kind of setup too. So I'm very lucky everywhere across my life, you know, from day to day. So things are very easy for me.
You mentioned we spoke there about the, you know, that kind of feeling of why am I doing this? Well, then you go out there and you get the win, your hand gets raised. Like, that must have been a pretty good feeling after being away from so long to come back and get that win in Tenerife.
Yeah, it really was. It was fantastic. It was, you know, I was delighted. I had so much time off and not seeing all the other fighters in the gym kind of going off, doing their wins, having their losses, you know, getting their belts and stuff, you know. And it was, I was really glad that I got to be part of a camp for myself again, and everyone in the gym coming up was part of it, you know. So there was a nice buzz around the place. So it was good for MMA Cork. I was glad to kind of get a win and get a finish, and sure, it was good fun around the place.
And was it that changed your mind, that, you know, like how quickly were you like, actually, you know, I could get used to doing this again. I could get a few more fights under my belt here.
Oh, instantaneously when I threw the jab, I was like, oh no, I'm good to go again. You know, that kind of way. But,
so like in the cage first.
Oh yeah. That's just straight up psychopath, for God's sake. So
a great win. And now you're booked again. So obviously you're fighting this weekend, this coming Saturday against Radek Roušal, probably butchered that name, at Oktagon 63. How did this one come about? And your sign, I guess, like, is this a one fight deal with Oktagon, or how did this Oktagon bout come about?
So that's all down to Barry O'Callaghan, my manager, and like Aaron, my main coach there, my brother. Like they kind of just, they are the puppet masters to what I do. Again, they make it easy for me. I just show up training, make sure I'm on weight. They ask me, "Are you good to go for this weight at this time?" Yeah, no, not at all. I've had too much chocolate, can't do it, So they've just, and Barry was the one who kind of did a lot of contact with Oktagon, so he managed to. It was just when the fight in Cork fell through, in September, I was kind of after putting a full camp in. I made weight, so kind of a lot of work was done. So I was to Barry saying, "Get me something fast, like, so I can keep the ball rolling on it instead of just kind of retreating back to being comfortable and waiting for another show." But he managed to find this fight for me, and Octagon were happy to offer me this fight. I think it's two fights. So we'll take one anyway for a start, and we'll see how that goes.
That's it. And yeah, because like it was your opponent right on the Elite FC show that there was an issue there. He pulled out, was it?
Yeah, I weighed in the Friday morning to fight him. He was supposed to be on the plane, and he just never showed up. Honestly, it's the first time it's happened to me. Like,
wow.
He just was saying, "Oh, I'll be on the plane here. I'll be making this and that." But then he was coming from Portugal, but I think he just kind of told lies to his coach and the event and all that. So it was that was the first anyway.
So he, like, was there? He just didn't show up. Was there any contact with him?
They were just in contact, and he just kind of, I think he was refusing to do his medical, or he was saying he had his medical done. I don't know, was it forged? I don't actually know the full story, but he was saying, "Yeah, I'll be there. I'm getting the plane. I'm collecting the forms for the medical." And then I'd say he was just kind of hoping that the fight would get cancelled. I don't know what his reasoning was, but sure, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, that's a night. I mean, you're after giving up your chocolate for a few weeks, and he doesn't even show up.
Yeah. Big time.
This is a disgrace.
Yeah, it was an absolute disgrace. I had less chocolate now than I should have had. It was a joke, absolute joke.
What's the go now? I'd be fond of chocolate bar myself. What's the go-to chocolate these days?
Oh yeah, no, Jesus, nowadays that can change. I'm a devil for the cream eggs when it's cream egg season, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Do you know the cream eggs taste? My missus from the States, they taste different over there. Not as good. Not as good as they are as we have.
It's never as good when you go away, is it? No.
Yeah.
But I'd say the cream eggs down in Cork are much better everywhere else in the country.
Oh yeah, just like everything else.
Just like
Cork,
everything else. I'm glad you said it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said it.
Yeah, the fake Republic of Cork, is that it?
Yeah. I found out in all my interviews I've been doing there lately, I've just been going on about Cork.
But sure, that's all anyone from Cork ever does.
Yeah, but you think, like, people aren't talking about it enough, so maybe we have to keep going. So,
people are talking about it plenty enough.
Not outside of Cork. If you start going on about Cork enough, then I'll stop talking about Cork. But until that's done, I have to keep going. Yeah.
Cork MMA is on the rise. I feel like Brian Manning lad is he's causing quite a stir on the amateur or on the professional scene now.
Yeah, he's into pros now. He's brilliant. He's a great person to have around the gym. He's an absolute lunatic, but like he's unapologetically himself. He's great to have around, and he's just a great energy. He's making waves for sure. And he's all about the online presence, the outside the cage, the talking, the self-promotion, and some people love it and some people hate it, but he loves it, and it's great to have someone like him run the place too.
He's making up for you, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's taking all the stuff I lack.
So have you? Are you familiar with your opponents? I don't know. I feel like you're a very laid back guy here, Jack. Do you do a lot of study on your opponents, or do you just kind of?
Oh yeah. Like, as in, I've gotten sent to, like, I would have been sent to his fights, and
yeah,
it was like the fights are basically accepted for me by my brother and Barry, so they're like, you'll take him, you'll be fine. So like, grand, show me him. So like, I watched his kind of last few fights, but yeah, like, it's hard, you can be watching tape all the time and watching fights all the time, but it's they're against very different opponents, and you just have to kind of maybe watch out for a few things, or it's kind of more for just picturing, what the story is really. You kind of have to figure out much in the day, a lot of me is just figuring out in the day and maybe download the info for a round or two and see what happens, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like, I came across him. I've seen him a few times now. He obviously fought Armin Herxeg there last year, and he's had a few fights since then in Oktagon. I don't know if you've seen him at weigh-ins or kind of before fights, but he seems to be a very aggressive guy. A very, he'll be in your face. And I was thinking about this today. I was like, Jack Maguire seems like the absolute opposite of this type of character. And I'm wondering if you've noticed his kind of energy that he brings into these weigh-ins and fights, and are you prepared for this, and what are you anticipating here?
I haven't had a notion about anything that goes on with this man. I don't know what he does or who he is. Like outside, I just saw his fight, you know, that's all I need to worry about. He probably will, I don't know, you're saying he's a bit mental in the face-offs and whatnot, but I'll just have to deal with that then, won't I?
Yeah, I mean, like, from what I've seen, he likes to get in people's faces, maybe, you know, head to head. He threw a slap, I think, at Armin Herxeg. So some fighters do this to kind of G themselves up for fights or whatever. But yeah, I mean, like, I feel like that's not your style, right?
No, it's not really. No, actually, at all. Not at all. Maybe I might have to hit him first. Who knows? So, who knows?
We'll find out on Friday, I guess.
No, realistically, I'm just going to stare at him and just kind of not know what to do and wait till I fight him in the cage, I suppose.
What do you make of like, because obviously you're quite laid back. I would describe you as a sportsman. There's not a lot of pantomime. It's just you show up, you put in the training, you do your job, and you move on. Like, what do you make of, I guess, the other approach of, the boisterous, the extravagant, the likes of this guy who's going to kind of get in your face? Does it say anything to you about an opponent, or
no? It's just part of the sport. It's just the way the sport's gone, as like we were talking beforehand about building brands and building yourself as a fighter, and people trying to make this of that or that of this, and if they feel it necessary for them to act like that, then off with them. It's just, it might work out for them, but I'm just not into it. So like I wouldn't go around pretending and acting like things that I'm not. I like to be fighting as Jack Maguire, not as a show person. So that's just the way I look at it. So I wouldn't be into it. But again, I'm not going to stop someone or be judging someone for doing it, because that's the way the sport's gone. And you see some amazing fighters that don't get signed to big organizations because they don't, sell themselves, or that's the way it's kind of gone. So if you're up for doing that, then off with you. Fair play.
Yeah, I mean, like, I respect it completely. I think that authenticity is probably the greatest thing you can have in MMA, because kind of fans will smell bullshit pretty quickly when it comes to someone putting on a persona, or obviously some fighters are naturally in your face and loud and brash, and it suits them, and that's their profile, their persona. But that's who they are, and I think that as long as it's authentic, it works out. The fight itself, Jack, what are you expecting? You said you watched a bit of tape on this guy. What are you expecting coming into this fight?
It's going to be a tough fight. Absolutely. He's someone who's used to Oktagon, who's used to their ways. He's been on there before, so like he's definitely someone who's more experienced in that side of things. So he'll be a tough opponent, and he looks like a tough opponent. He'll give me a challenge everywhere. So it'll be we'll have to just figure it all out and see. So I know for a fact anyway that we're going to have to hit each other, and after that we'll have to wing it. So that's all I know so far.
I mean, that's a pretty good prediction that you'll hit each other all right.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have, like, I feel like you're probably not going to be one for predictions. Are you a guy who does predictions on fights, or likes to reveal your game plan heading into them?
No, I don't. I don't do predictions really. But if I was going to predict, I would say a very, very quick decision all the way to the end.
A slow, monotonous 15 minutes, yeah?
Yeah. One where I'm trying to get out of there and just slogging it out for the crack.
Are you looking for, like, this Oktagon crowd? They've been doing fantastic stuff over in, kind of Germany, Czech Republic, Slovakia, all of those countries and more. I believe this is in the Tipos Arena. I think it's 10,000 seater arena. They've obviously put on bigger shows than that. Even, does that excite you to go over? They had kind of a focus on the UK and Ireland briefly, but it seems they've kind of pivoted away from that, and the likes of Will Fleury, etc., are kind of going into enemy territory when it comes to representing Ireland. Do you think about that at all? Does that excite you?
Well, I hadn't thought about it. I hadn't even know about it, but that's a lot of people, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how does that make you feel?
Nothing really. I kind of, I didn't. It's mad. It's a big arena, so I'd say it'd be cool enough. Like, no, I'd say looking back and I'd be thinking, oh, that was mad enough, right? But, I kind of might be the same as the battle zone days in Ducline. Just in the hall. Just eventually all the noise just goes just me and another fella. But saying that, I've never been in that situation where there's probably 10,000 people, so who knows, it might overwhelm me, so I'll have to just wing all that too. So yeah, there you go.
Do you pick your own walkout music, or Barry Ryan do that?
No, I pick my own. Like, I wouldn't usually really kind of bother me, but my sister wrote a song, and I came out to it the last time, so I used my sister's song just to support my sister, and try and live off her brand. So,
no way. Jeez, this is a talented family.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
She's a fighter. So she wrote the song?
Yeah, she wrote the song, and she sings it now. So, like,
no way.
If you're on Spotify there now, go on to Mali Music and you'll see all her songs. And there's a song called The Battle, and that's what I come out to. It's kind of a bit of home with me while I'm away foreign fighting lads.
100%. That's amazing. Fair play, and congratulations to Fia. Very impressive stuff.
It was actually Megan, my other sister.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So she's the musician. It wasn't Fia anyway. Fia, don't be giving that to Fia. No, that wasn't Fia at all. Oh,
I completely take that back then.
Yeah. No, it wasn't Fia. No.
I revoke all those well wishes. Yeah,
Fia's not that talented yet, anyway.
Okay. Well, look, you're going into battle this Saturday night. What I feel like you haven't even thought about this. You probably haven't. What comes next, or like, what do you plan? You said you have 2 fights here, by the sounds of it, on this deal. Are you chasing titles, or are you just taking a fight as it comes?
I'll just take a fight as it comes. I know they said I have 2 fights, so I'll just do this fight on Saturday, and then I'll wake up on Sunday, and then I'll figure it out after that. I'll kind of
get a chocolate bar.
Yeah, definitely. I'll get that Saturday night. But yeah, after that, I'd imagine that I'd have 1 fight, and I'd have to just see what they're offering and go with that then, or if something creeps up in the meantime, great. If I turn around and say, no, that's the end of it. That's the end of it. But for now, I'm all in and I'm enjoying my prep, and I'm looking to fight, and we go from there.
Brilliant. Well, look, Jack, it's great to see you back. It's great to hear that you're healthy. And yeah, it's been a pleasure to chat to you. I really enjoy the no bullshit. Like, you could have said for the vast majority of these questions, you could just make up some shit, but you don't.
No, I have no energy for that. I'll only get caught up in my lives anyway and get caught out. So
yeah. Well, look, best of luck. Safe travels over to Bratislava, isn't it?
Bratislava, that's it. Yeah.
Have you ever been to Bratislava before?
No.
Any sightseeing plans, or?
No, I'd probably get over there now. Same in Tenerife. I got over there, and I never want to go back there ever again now after fighting.
Really?
Did
you not like Tenerife?
No, I loved it, but like, it was poisoned by the fight, so I didn't even get to enjoy it. So yeah. Fair
enough. I've heard Bratislava is a very hit or miss place. I've been once, and I went to the train station and then immediately left.
Yeah, well, hopefully there's plenty of hitting and no missing now on Saturday. So
that's it. There's a prediction. 15 minutes of monotonous hitting on Saturday night. Jack Maguire versus Radek Roušal, Oktagon 63. You can watch it on Oktagon .tv, I believe it is. We'll put it up on SevereMMA as well. Jack, great to chat to you. I appreciate it.
You too, Andy.
And all the best on Saturday night.
Appreciate that. Great chatting to you. Best of luck.